about to go live. All right, y'all, we're live. And I'm Susie. I'm the host of the Rhetoric podcast. This is actually my first episode. And I think we just had to do it because of all the discourse and all the rhetoric around Drake and Kendrick right now. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to let CJ introduce himself.
My name's CJ. I'm actually Susie's cousin by way of marriage.
Yes,
I'm excited to join the podcast, especially on the first episode. And excited to get into this Drake and Kendrick conversation. I feel like there's been a lot going on the last, couple of weeks or so.
All right. So I'm going to jump right into it. Well, first, I just want to talk like a little bit about what I've been personally feeling about it. Like, I'm 35 now, right? Like, I grew up in the era of Jay-Z and Nas dissing each other. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm like, that was my teenage, early 20 years. And at that point, it was fun and like all this, look at this rap beef and whatnot. And now it's kind of like, are we a little too old for this? So I didn't pay attention to it very much at the beginning. Yeah. And then like it just took over everything. It took over my TikTok, my everything, that my group chats, it took over everything. So I'm like, I have to have some kind of opinion on this. But and I'll talk a little bit later how I feel about both artists. I think some people who know me might know I love Drake. I won't lie, I've been a little embarrassed.
Okay.
Tiny bit embarrassed lately. Do you know, like, we had a Drake party for Damon's, my husband's birthday. Like, we literally had a whole theme of, like, we themed our entire house on Drake lyrics, and it was ridiculous. So I'm a little embarrassed right now. I'm not gonna lie. How were you, like, kind of feeling in the?
So, like, for me, it first popped off with Kendrick's feature on Like That. So, I was like, I've heard them kind of jab at each other throughout the years, but I feel like Kendrick is treating it like a sport. Like in basketball, you have people that are like rivals on the court, but then off the court, they can be friends. I feel like that's Kendrick. Like he just views it as a game. So that's how I looked at it at first. And then I didn't know if, Kendrick was going to, if Drake was going to respond or what, because sometimes people just throw their diss out there if it's real light, and it's just that, and it takes, somebody might turn into. I definitely wouldn't have bet it would have turned into this for sure. It's crazy.
I will say, I did see like I saw a video on TikTok or something. It was just like what do we gain from this? And someone stitched it and was like, well, we got a little distraction, we got a little entertainment, we got a distraction from our crazy world right now. So I was like, I can kind of see that it's entertainment at the end of the day. This is entertainment. So I do also want to mention, and I'm still kind of waiting for other viewers to come in, but I do want to mention like just a little bit about my background in music. I actually started my career in marketing at Capitol Records, EMI Music in New York City. And then I went over to Columbia Records, Sony Music in New York City. Shout out to Addo, if you're watching this now. That was my road dog. We were interns there, and it was just kind of crazy. And so we're going to bring up J. Cole, but I'm going to talk a little bit about J. Cole real quick, because at the time when he had dropped, this was like 2009, I think, around that time, one of those years, 2009 or 2010. And when he dropped, Sony was actually the distribution label. So Columbia Records was the distribution label or Sony Music, whatever, for Rock Nation. So when other artists, I don't want to name the names because I feel like my stream will get shut down, but a few other big artists that are also associated with Jay-Z, very closely, maybe I could say Bumblebees or something like that. But she dropped, and what happened was, like, my boss at the time had told me, all right, it's time, we have to floor J. Cole. And like at that time, I was literally sending physical CDs to radio stations, and we took all of J. Cole's merch off of the shelves, and we did everything and literally put it on the floor in our intern room and everywhere else. And then we were pushing everything for that other artist, and then we were like scouring people's Twitter. So I know a lot of people are saying J. Cole did the right thing, which is good, but I do have a like extensive history in the music industry, and then I also just have been a hip hop person my whole life. So I'm also an old head with it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've also been a person to diss Kendrick a lot. Like I'm one of those, oh, I can't listen to Kendrick in the club. And I know that's ignorant. I know that's an ignorant statement. But like I just, it is, I think I'm at a stage, just a different stage in my life now. That's all. But I appreciate what he's done.
Yeah. Like I feel like my story is pretty interesting when it comes to Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. So like, I mean, I've been listening to Drake since So Far Gone. Like I can remember just in the summers, because I was a big Wayne fan. So that's how I got ushered into Drake. But in like 2009, 2010, my cousin DJ, I was riding in his car and he had this burnt CD and it had 2 J. Cole songs on it. It had In the Morning and another song from Friday Night Lights, the one with Wale on it. I forgot what it was called. But he had both of those on there. And that's the first time I ever heard J. Cole.
Yep.
So I hear those and I'm like, who's this? And it kind of sparks my interest. So I go back home because I used to always come down to Florida for the summer. I think that was during like Christmas break though. So I go back home to Atlanta. I look up J. Cole and I see the Friday Night Lights mixtape. I download it on Dat Piff or something like that.
And, that is taking it back. Yes.
Right? And I listened to it and instantly, like I became the biggest J. Cole fan. Like it just resonated with me where I was, at the time I was in college. So like everything he was talking about was like literally my life. So I became like a diehard J. Cole fan. Like I would go to background and like I was such a J. Cole fan that I became a big Kendrick hater because they used to compare the two at that time. So like Section 80, never listened to it then. When Good Kid, Mad City came out, I didn't even listen to it. That's how much of a hater I was on Kendrick. Didn't even listen to it. And then Cole ended up dropping Born Sinner. I was a little disappointed with it. So, and I'm hearing a lot of the Kendrick singles like Money Trees, Don't Kill My Vibe, all that. So I'm like, you know what? Let me listen to this Good Kid, Mad City thing. This was probably like a year after he dropped. Like I literally ignored it because I'm, hating on him because I'm a big Cole fan. So I listened to Good Kid and I'm like, yo, like this is on a different level. Like I feel like I was watching a movie. And this is
great.
A big Kendrick hater. And like he honestly flipped my whole perspective where I'm like, yo, Cole's been kind of slipping a little bit. And this Kendrick album is different. So now I'm kind of open to Kendrick a little bit just because of how great that album was. Then he came out with like features and stuff. I think the whole Control thing happened, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Then he drops To Pimp a Butterfly. And I like that album better than Good Kid, Mad City. People sleep on To Pimp a Butterfly. And then Kendrick won me over. So he literally snatched me as a Cole fan. And then I became a huge Kendrick fan just because his creativity, like just what he was doing was just next level to me. But I feel like most people, they either hate on Drake, hate on Kendrick, hate on Cole because they have their favorite, which I get that. But I feel like my story is a little bit interesting because I started out as a, diehard J. Cole fan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I feel like I have a pretty neutral perspective on all of them. I don't really, I'm not really biased towards anybody. Like I respect everybody for their own thing. Like I think Cole's great at what he does, which is just bars. Kendrick is the most creative out of all of them. And then Drake does what Drake does. Drake is so versatile and he makes hits. Like you can't, people hate on Drake. You really can't. Like he's Drake, you know what I'm saying? His music is great. Like you can't
hate the billboards, right?
So it's like, I feel like they're all their own thing. But like I said, I definitely didn't expect all this stuff going on right now though.
Yeah. How did you feel about Damn? Did you like that? Did you like that one?
Damn's good. I didn't like it as much as Good Kid or To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly is just special to me, but Damn was good though. It's a really, really good album. Like it's great. It's a classic. But I would rank Good Kid and To Pimp a Butterfly over Damn. That's just my preference.
That is really unique. I don't know anyone that kind of went from, that timeline of like disliking Kendrick to liking it, because I went the opposite way. And I will say, I do kind of dislike, I'm sorry. Like I enjoyed his first two albums. I think they were masterpieces, honestly.
Yeah.
And when they came out, I felt that way about them. And then it went to it's a little too, because to kind of like take it back a little too, there are lyrical songs that you can listen to in the club, for lack of better words. There are. You can listen to the Locks, like you can listen to Jada Kiss and Styles P. They make hits for the club, like, and it's also super lyrical. Drake, I've always put Drake into like his own little category, kind of popish, pop rap kind of thing. He's all entertainment to me. Like it's just fun, happy go lucky stuff. But on the way here, I was listening to the first Kendrick disc. I can't remember exactly what the name was. And I was like, I literally am upset. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. Like, I can't handle this. On the way here, I had to change it. And I just switched it to something that like I can sing along.
Was it because of the song? You didn't like the song, or because he was talking about Drake?
No, not because he was talking about Drake. I can appreciate a diss track, but no, it was just the song, the melody, all of it. It was a little too much. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm trying to bop in my car. Even if it is a diss song, hardcore rap, you can still bop to it. You know what I mean? Like, I know many artists you could do that.
Yeah,
like,
Back to Back was a bop. Like, when Drake dropped that, like, that was played in the club. I was riding in my car to that, so I totally get what you're saying.
Someone had tweeted also, I had seen someone say, like, oh my gosh, I just lost Super Ugly, Jay-Z's diss to Nas, and they were like, I'm like, all I really know is Yo wants to be with me. Like, that is something you can, like, but I think also where we're getting lost on the quality of these disses are that they're coming out so quick with it.
Yeah,
like they're dropping, like, I don't even think they're listening to each other's complete thing and respond. It's like, y'all get on a webcast like this and just talk to each other at this point. Like, that's how I feel a little.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're listening to them because they have to kind of figure out what the other person's saying. But I know for me, like, Euphoria, like Kendrick's first diss song dropped. Then Drake dropped, I think he dropped Tailor Made, and
I'm gonna pull that up because that's actually what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, he dropped.
And then, oh my God, wait till you see this. Look at what you're about to see. So this is my Twitter, and look at the header, and that header's been there for literally maybe 4 years now. Like,
that's perfect.
It's so funny. And I was like, I'm a fan of Kendrick. I think the overhypedness of it has just made me kind of just like,
Of what, the diss or just him?
Him as a whole. I've always just kind of been like, about it. And that's why when this came out, I'll probably talk about it a little bit later, but I got some things can be offensive, and I'm not like a snowflake at, get offended at everything. But, he talked about, the conversation came up about being biracial, and, I'm mixed. I'm Guyanese. They would call me Dougla. So I'm Black, I'm Indian. I have some German in me.
Yeah.
And as someone who is mixed race like that, it's like, at one point, like, you're only Black until a certain level sometimes, and that's why I kind of felt like rubbed the wrong way. And I just kind of I didn't participate much in it. And then I'm like, honestly, like, for everyone to know my feel, I think Kendrick completely killed Drake in this entire beef. I think he won. I think he will win. And I think, like, that's my honest opinion as someone who's not a huge Kendrick fan. So
yeah. I mean, I'm mixed too. So I'm Italian and Black, but I didn't really get offended by it because I feel like I didn't take it personal, because I don't think he would have did that to J. Cole and J. Cole's mix. I think he's just
true.
I think Drake is different. He comes off different. People view him different. People view him as like an actor, like he's truly not being himself. Right. So, I think he's kind of just coming at him as like he's corny and, like, I don't know. I feel like he's really coming after Drake's insecurities. I feel like Drake might have insecurities that he may not feel Black enough. He may not fit in. I feel like he has like just different insecurities, and I feel like Kendrick is attacking that. He's trying to like actually get under his skin. So that's what I think that's about. I don't think
that's true.
Would like just go to a random mixed person and be like, you can't say nigga, but I think he's just trying to get under Drake's skin. That's why I didn't take it personal.
That's a good perspective. That's a good way to like reframe that kind of thinking, because you're right. Like Drake is a different kind of like Drake was an actor. He starred in Degrassi. He's from Canada. It's a very
Yeah,
different kind of thing. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. You know what I mean? It's a very different kind of
yeah,
play kind of thing. So,
yeah. Like
but
my
you were
personal
just
opinion,
starting. Go
my
ahead. Sorry.
personal opinion on Drake is like I don't take anything away from Drake. I think he's like one of the goats, but um I do feel like he's an actor slash like a sponge. Like I feel like he came into the game with Wayne. He was able to sponge some of Wayne's game. Then he's around the weekend, right? So listen to Drake's like R&B singing songs before
Yeah.
he was hanging with the
Mhm.
weekend and after. Brand new is totally different than what he's doing, like what he's been doing after the weekend. So I feel like he sponged some game from the weekend, like the way he mixed
Absolutely.
his tracks, the way he did his vocals and stuff like that. Then he's around Future, ATL people. Now he kind of sponges some stuff from Future, Migos, and stuff like that. So I feel like he's a culmination of people he's been around, and he's
Mhm.
able to like put it, like kind of mold it.
Yeah.
So
Do you think though, like, because I've always Drake completely steals or takes people's style, and I
yeah,
feel like he was about to do that with Four Bats. I don't know if you listen to Four Bats
yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but he got on that remix, and I was like, now he's gonna be Four Bats. But I feel like Drake is kind of like Apple in that way, where like these things already exist, these flows exist, but I feel like he takes it and refines it.
yeah.
Like I feel like
I
he
don't have
refines it.
I don't have an issue with it. My thing is he's just like to me, he's able to make like the best music. Like he makes the most hits. Like he's using it to his advantage. So I'm not gonna knock him for that.
Mhm.
But what I believe is like Drake is just brilliant. So I believe that literally if somebody came behind the scenes without anybody knowing and was like, yo, Drake, I'll pay you $1 billion to quit the rap game right now and go become the president of Canada or Ontario or something like that.
Mhm.
I give you 5 years to rebuild your brand and become the president. He would be able to do that. I
I
think
think
he's that
so.
brilliant where he can play any role and
Mhm.
excel at it. He just
Right.
happens to be playing the role of Drake and he's killing it. That's
Right.
my
Mhm.
personal opinion. I think that's why he might rub people the wrong way. And that's why I think he rubs Kendrick the wrong way. Because I think
Mhm.
Kendrick looks at him like that.
Yeah.
Like me, I recognize that, but it's like it doesn't really take anything away from me because cool, he might be playing a role, but he's playing it well. He's putting out good music. Like, what do I need to hate on that for? If I can bop to his music and like whether he's singing or rapping, if
Mhm.
it's good, it's good. What do I care who
You
he
know,
really is or what like I don't care about all that
I
stuff.
think a lot of people get misplaced in what entertainment is, and they want these artists and entertainers to be, the end all be all and be, they're my moral compass. They're all of these things. When no, they're playing a role. Like I do it content creation, and I do some, and the things that I like. Some stuff is it's literally for show. It's
Yeah,
made up. Like this
yeah,
is live right now. I can't make anything up.
yeah,
I literally make some stuff up. I clip my dog together, and I'm like, oh, he did this all in one day. He didn't do that.
yeah,
So I think that media literacy is something that we as a population need to understand a little bit more and not take on like, these are not our moral compasses. These are not people that
yeah.
this is entertainment. They're actors, like
But
at the end of the day.
like
So
from a I guess from a moral standpoint, I have a question. So, because I feel like Kendrick is playing like he's on the moral high ground,
mhm.
and then Drake's not. So he's basically trying to play that role. Like, how do you feel about that?
So I saw a good video about that where I think I have it pulled up, but they were talking specifically about how Kendrick is kind of acting like he's on this moral high ground when he's really not. I mean, none of us could really be on a moral high
Yeah,
ground.
yeah,
And I personally I don't think that's right. I like there's no rappers that can throw stones. There's no entertainer that can throw stones at anyone. You don't I had saw another thing that basically what they were saying was no one becomes a billionaire or famous by doing things ethically. And I'm just like, and I'm personally, I don't believe that, but as a small business owner, and I kind of see things the way how it is, I'm kind of starting to see that that's kind of true.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't have much thoughts on it. I saw a really good video where someone specifically talked about like the moral high ground that Kendrick's trying to like allude to or be on, and it's
Yeah.
just, how do you feel about it? What do you think?
I mean, like I think it's smart for him to do that because he's basically like trying to paint. So this is like what I think he's trying to do, because I think like Drake to a certain extent does kind of embody a lot that's wrong with the black culture, like the way
Mhm.
that I don't know, women and men like kind of like view each other. Like I feel like Drake pushes that narrative the way he might treat women and he might sexualize them. Like Kendrick's trying to play off that. So a lot of what Drake does probably isn't good for the culture, and it probably perpetuates like a lot of the negativity.
For sure, yeah, I can see
So I
that.
can see where Kendrick's trying to do that, and that's cool. But where I feel like Kendrick is culpable is like, let's use what you brought up, the mix thing, right? Like you can't say nigga. Okay, well, we
Mhm.
know for a long time, ever since the slave days, that white people have tried to pit black people against each other based on their skin color. So if we
Absolutely.
want to play the moral high ground, what are you doing, Kendrick? Now you're perpetuating the division within
Mhm,
the black
mhm.
community when you're supposed to be all for it.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm,
can't really,
mhm,
I mean, you got to choose your battles. Like, I feel like you can pick apart Kendrick just like you can pick apart Drake. It's in
mhm.
different ways, but it's like what Kendrick's doing is, to me, is definitely not any kind of moral high ground. Like he's taking it, they're both like taking it to the next level. Like they're both going overboard. But
Yeah.
what it is, you know what I mean? But it's like at this point, you can't. I feel like the only person on the moral high ground is J. Cole. He took the moral high ground. He's on the moral high
Chef's
ground. So
kiss.
somebody
Yeah.
who can make
Mhm,
that claim, but Kendrick really can't. So
mhm.
that's where I feel like it is. I don't know who's winning because it's close, but I feel like that's where Kendrick, like it's not a mop, it's not a sweep, because people can look at Kendrick in that way kind of too, like they can look at Drake. It's not like Drake is the only one smeared. So I feel like Kendrick's doing some foul stuff, so it's like, it's messy right now.
How do you feel about the so Kendrick said that he Drake has a daughter that he doesn't
Yeah,
acknowledge, and then Drake said, "Oh well, I planted this." Do
I
you
don't believe
believe that he planted? I
no,
don't believe it either. I
because
don't believe
he,
it.
like when Kendrick dropped that track, Drake listened to it, then
Mhm.
posted on Instagram, nah, like basically like these niggas reaching, these niggas wild, and I don't know exactly what he said, but he basically he reacted to that. So to me, you wouldn't have reacted that way. But I feel like Drake is smart though. He's playing his best hand. So he was dealt cards based on what Kendrick did, and he's like, all right, what's the best cards I can play with the hand I was dealt? And to
Mhm.
me, the Heart Part 6 is the best cards he could play. Okay, let me act like I
Mhm.
fed him the information. Let me call out, like, twist the pedophile into the, molestation stuff. He basically was able to just play the best cards he was dealt. And I think he did a great job based on the cards he was dealt. Like, what, because either he actually planted the information, or if he didn't, it was a brilliant move to make people think he did. So
Mhm.
either way, it was brilliant, whether he
Mhm.
planted it or he made it up. So I think he's just playing the best cards, the best cards that he was dealt, and I can't knock him for that. That's why I feel like if people want to say Kendrick won or he's winning, I don't know about that, because to me, Drake, he's also playing too. He's trying to play
I
chess with him.
I don't like. I really think Drake could have done a much better job on the Heart Part Six. Like, if Drake, I feel like he didn't go with his own flow. Like, I really feel like it's the first time I've seen him be insecure. Like, if he would have went with his witty kind, like it wasn't as witty and just kind of like just like kind of petty, just being petty and funny and making a diss that other people can relate to. Like anybody could be like, oh, this is a diss for my boss, this is a diss for the person I didn't, you know what I mean? I feel like if he would have kept it that way, it could have been more successful. And every time I played a Drake disc, I'm like, or put it on the car, I'm like expecting to hear a bop, I'm
Yeah,
expecting to hear a diss track bop, and I didn't get that with Drake. I don't like any of the tracks that he came out with. I
None
don't know. I think Kendrick killed him, and you heard.
about the
I
Taylor
don't.
Made with the AI,
The
Pac and Snoop.
I didn't listen to that. I don't think I heard that one.
Yeah, there's one called Taylor Made Freestyle. You got to listen to it. So what he
Uh-huh.
did was he took, you know how like AI can like make you sound like I can record a
Yeah,
sound
yeah, yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I can put an AI filter on it and it'll
Mhm.
make me sound like you.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
I
yeah.
created an AI one for you. So
Mhm.
he recorded one verse and recorded a second verse. The first verse is Pac. So he's
Mhm.
rapping, talking to Kendrick. He puts the Pac AI on it, and it's basically Pac giving Kendrick advice. And then
Oh,
he does the same thing with
uh-huh.
Snoop giving Kendrick advice, and then Drake comes on as himself in the third verse. To me, that's creative. Nobody ever did that before.
That is really cool. And I don't think I quite understood what was going on. But like I said, I have been a little bit of a bystander in it, but as
Yeah,
a bystander, that got drowned it out.
yeah,
Everything
because
with
there's so
Kendrick
much.
got, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's so, and that's where Kendrick was brilliant because even when Drake dropped Family Matters, he dropped like 15 to 30 minutes like later. So he's playing chess too, just like Drake is, but he's playing chess because he's like drowning out some of the
Right.
noise. But
So
but
let me
yeah,
go through this timeline because I promise we
yeah,
have a schedule.
yeah.
We have an outline. So this was like Metro Future and Metro Boomin's like that. And I
Yeah.
gotta talk about BBL Drizzy the beat. Oh my god, I freaking love it. I can't get it out of my head. That's a diss beat. So innovative. Um, and then April 13th was Drake's push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
April 19th was Taylor Made. So this is the one you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm talking about. So,
Got you.
so Drake dropped two back to back. He dropped Push Ups and then Taylor Made.
I listened to push-ups. I don't know if this will play. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just want to hear the AI real quick. Sounds like pop.
You know the baby West Coast victory, man. Call him a bitch for me. Talk about him like a young girl. That's a gift for me.
Mm-hmm.
Heard it on the Budding podcast. It's gotta be true. It's all.
That's definitely Drake's flow, though. That
Yeah.
is definitely a Drake flow. I'm
And
gonna
then,
even listen to that.
yeah,
I didn't,
and then Snoop comes in on the second verse. But to me, that was a power move. Push Ups was good because he's talking about basically like, Kendrick like only earns like 50% of whatever he makes because Top Dog takes
yes.
50%. So
Mhm.
that's like to me that's a diss for sure. And then Taylor Made, that was brilliant to me because he's basically like having Pac and Snoop give him advice, and then he's coming in on the third verse. But
Yeah.
then Kendrick drops Euphoria. Now, like you said, Kendrick, he has his own style. I liken it to like Eminem. Some people can get with Eminem, some people
Yeah.
can't because he sounds different and he does
Mhm.
different things, and some people just can't vibe with it. So I can understand how some people can't vibe with like this track right here because it's like Kendrick does weird voices and stuff like that. So some people can't get past that. But
Yeah.
he dropped this, and then I think Drake dropped oh no, Kendrick dropped another
Yeah.
one, so 616. This one I feel like most people
12.
haven't heard because like this one probably gets drowned out the most to me. Like I hear people talk about Euphoria, I hear people talk about Drake's and all of the other Kendrick ones, but I don't hear people talking about this one. So I feel
Yeah.
like this one got drowned out for sure.
Yeah. And then Family Matters. No, with the minivan in the crusher.
I feel like Drake, it's not a club bop or anything like that. But he
Mhm.
snapped on it. Like he
I think
like
he did well on that one. Yeah.
it's like at this point it's personal. So I don't think they're worried about any club or anything like that. They're just worried
That's
about,
true. That's true.
like
Yeah.
making sure they handle business.
Mm-hmm. This one I didn't listen to because Buried Alive.
I didn't hear this.
Let's see what it is real quick because I did not.
You in a time box. Our shadow, third time. Latest record on repeat. You always been a bitch to me.
You was in a pine box.
So is this Kendrick or
in my spot?
I never heard this. Is Drake trying to? I think he's making fun of it.
To the P.
But Kendrick was on Take Care. He was on an interlude, Buried Alive interlude.
Mhm.
They're still embarrassed. Stop talking how you gonna spare us. React like an infant whenever I have mention. It's like you need tension. I always get attention. You always say how you wanna bury me alive. Jealousy disguised as your motherfucking pride. Took you on your first tour, just trying to catch a vibe. I was headline, you was standing on the side. Brought you in that other hole along for the ride. First time people lined up for your ass. Now you saying two pussy boys getting out of line. You been hating hard for a very long time. Feel like Twitter ghost writing your reply. Streets out here talking like at least a nigga tried. That's how you felt in 2011 while we wasting time. Dreams come true, Cody. This is where you die.
I haven't heard that one.
I like that one. I didn't hear that one either. But like none of Drake's is like murdering someone. Like I feel like Kendrick is murdering him. And as a Drake fan, I'm embarrassed and a little like,
I feel you. Like I felt like Drake was winning until Meet the Grams came out. Now when this came out, I was like, yo, like this was crazy to me. Like literally coming out with Dear Adonis and you're literally rapping to his son, to his mom, to his dad, then bring out the baby girl.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, this was where it went like left.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is the hardest song of the whole beef to me, Meet the Grams. But then he dropped this and dropped the Not Like Us, which is a bop.
Bro, the Not Like Us, people are in the club, people are at like they are, oh my god, they had it on I don't know if I had saved it, but they had it on in New York, they had it on in LA like on Saturday night, like bopping to it.
Yep.
It was crazy.
But I feel like Kendrick, when he dropped Meet the Grams, then dropped that back to back without Drake dropping anything, to me, he was easily winning at that point. So you know, but
I think it was still a contender. Like they were contenders at that point.
At which point?
Before Meet the Grams, and then after that,
it was like Kendrick was easily winning. Like there was no debate. But then Drake dropped this yesterday, and so a few reasons why I think somebody can make a case for Drake winning. So number one, the title, The Heart Part 6. So Kendrick has a series of songs on different projects.
Yeah.
So the last one was The Heart Part 5.
Yep.
So now, whenever Kendrick comes out with his next album, what's he going to do? Name it The Heart Part 7?
Yeah. Part 6 I didn't think about that. I did not think about that at all. He like fucked up his whole like
his whole series.
I didn't even think of that.
So that's a win for Drake, right?
Yeah.
Then he at least 75% of people believe Drake fed him the false information.
Yeah.
50%. I would say about 75% people believe that. So that's a win for Drake because now it looks like you finessed him the whole time. So people just off the strength of that are going to say Drake won because they're like, wow, he finessed Kendrick. He thought he made him think he had something when he didn't. And he's rapping about all this fake stuff when Drake was really finessing him the whole time. People are going to say Drake won just straight off that. So I feel like in here, Drake has a few wins where people can make a case that he won. That's why I feel like it's not like you can't just say Kendrick won.
Especially like the bystander, like, you know, people are just bystander who are not sitting here in depth dissecting this. Like the majority of everybody's going to be, that's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to hear. That's what they're going to believe. And it's going to be Drake on top once again. Like,
right. So he's controlling the narrative with that. So I feel like he's trying to play it as smart as he can. They're both playing it the best they can, but that's why I feel like it's kind of a toss up.
For sure. So I'm going to bring up some, and we could probably like, you know, commentary on this, but this is the video, I believe, where the guy was talking about like the moral high ground or whatnot.
Okay, let's
see if I can play that.
There's something that sits very wrong with me about the moral grandstand of Kendrick Lamar's track, Meet the Grams. I've been walking around Tompkins Square Park for like 4 hours. Like, just like, it's crazy that this beef is affecting me this much. Like, I'm that this invested, but I have to explain. I'm saying this as a Kendrick Lamar fan, and someone who's been a certified Drake hater for years, but it feels as if Kendrick Lamar has primed his fan base to be blindingly trustworthy in his moral high ground. And while not disputing anything that Drake is saying specifically, but using that moral high ground status to be like, I'm Kendrick Lamar. My last album was about therapy. I understand the culture. You can trust me, Drake. He's that slimy guy. No matter what he says about me, he's lying. I know people are gonna be mad at me, but I'm saying this as somebody who really listens to this shit. All right, like 80%.
So it's a 7-minute long video, but that's where I was kind of coming from, like with that other thing. But he says that Kendrick primes his fan base, but Drake also primes his fan base. Like, there's a reason why I am embarrassed, secondhand embarrassed for the way people are on here, like, oh my gosh, like Drake, kind of thing, and Kendrick. Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I think both of us are pretty equal and kind of middle of the road, but it's kind of embarrassing. But what I would disagree with him on this is that Drake also primes his fan base. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you feel like Drake stands on? Like, how does he, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like Drake, for me, just he emulates moods. He emulates, I was single at one point and I am trying to talk to my ex and whatever else. And then, or I'm going out tonight and I'm going to be like, Drake is just more of a mood, like a vibe. I feel like that's what he stands on, kind of. And I also feel like his fan base, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like his fan base are out there looking for lyrical tracks from Drake. Like, I could do with a beat and a hook and that's it, So I don't know, but I feel like his fan base is very much primed to just follow him because they love him. That's it.
Yeah. I think he just makes dope music, but I feel like he's so versatile that he has different fans for different reasons. Like, I do feel like there's Drake fans that literally listen to him for his rap, like his bars, and then there's fans that listen to him for his more R&B stuff. And then there's people in between.
R&B, he's R&B as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting what this guy said, though.
I like that.
I just need to get out here real quick because no one's talking about this. Do y'all remember when Ice Spice got booed out by Drake, and then afterwards she was like, Drake is weird. She's like, Drake is weird, and then Drake made her walk back that statement. Do y'all remember that? Because no one's talking about that. No one's talking about that, and that has always stayed in my mind. Like everyone keeps saying, if all these girls, all these women over all these years have been saying that Drake is weird. Drake is weird.
He still makes good music, though.
Oh, shit. I have a feeling that's what that was. Drake had Kendrick's wife's.
I don't know how true this is either, though.
In the music.
I don't know if it's the actual one, but he probably had a replica.
Kept emphasizing.
Which is still wild.
Do you know what is the whole thing with Drake, with Kendrick's wife and Drake? Like, what was the rumor there? Because where did this come from? Like, Drake wears Kendrick's wife's engagement ring. Like,
he's just trolling them.
Oh,
but yeah. Drake's just saying that Kendrick beats his wife, and then one of his kids is from one of Drake's friends. I mean, one of Kendrick's friends. So it's not really Kendrick's kid.
Gotcha. All right, let me go to my Twitter, because Twitter, look, like I was cutting up. Oh my gosh. The heart part 6.
How's that a whole time, people? How
do you feel about that, though? Like, Drake was basically saying to Kendrick, like, yo, you're talking about pedophiles, but when they were trying to take R. Kelly's catalog down off of Spotify, you said if you take his catalog down, then you got to take mine down. So you're basically standing up for a pedophile. Being hypocritical, or how do you feel?
I think he's definitely being hypocritical. I think so, because again, like I mentioned earlier, it's hard for any rappers it's hard for any person to hold this, moral high ground. Where especially like a baby, a child, those are the innocents that can probably hold those. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what is it? But what I will say with Drake's response to these allegations of him,
Yeah.
thinking of younger girls, I think it wasn't that great. It was just more like, oh, I'm too famous to do that. Those are the people that's doing these things. Like, that's not a good enough response. I expect Drake to be far more witty. I expect him to, like, really do something with it.
Yeah.
If I send you this, just know I'm about to make a sound business decision. J. Cole. Fun fact, I actually rapped on stage with J. Cole.
Oh, really?
At his college tour. He was at William Patterson in New Jersey, and I was like the only girl in the crowd, and he's like, who knows who wants to come up and sing it? And I'm just there, and all my boys are with me, and they're like, let her come up. And he lets me come up, and I rapped on stage with him. I can't remember what I even rapped, but I knew every word. Like, I was a huge J. Cole fan.
Question, do you feel like J. Cole like is winning right now?
You're gonna hate my answer. I think I'm at the point in my life where I would have done what J. Cole did.
Yeah,
I would not have been in this. I've literally, that's how I function at work and everything. I am not in the beef no more. I'm not in the arguments. I'm not in the business of trying to prove anything anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what J. Cole did.
Yeah, I agree. I think from like a moral and like a maturity standpoint, absolutely. Like, I'm not.
It's boring, but
none of that deserves my energy, and it. I'm not going to give it. Like, I'm not going to be a slave to any of that stuff. Right. But from like a rap standpoint, though, I feel like you can make a case that he took an L, because I feel like before this, it was probably a debate between, okay, who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And you could probably put Cole at number two, at number one. You could probably slot him in wherever based on your opinion. But I feel like now it's a clear 1 and 2 with Drake and Kendrick.
For sure, yeah. That's a great point.
He's a 3. Like, he's stuck at 3. I don't think he can do anything to get up to 1 or 2 now, just because of how big this beef is, where it's going to sit in the history of rap. So I feel like that's where you could make a case where Cole took an L on this by not participating, is he's forever going to be number 3.
Tell me, so I've been out of the whole, who's the greatest rapper of this time 4 years. I think I ended it back when where I took Jay-Z out of my number 1 10 years ago. So now,
who'd you replace Jay-Z with?
Styles P has always been like my favorite rapper go-to, and recently I like made an announcement to myself and my family that Kanye West is my favorite. I'm a producer, artist. Like, how he's changing, he changes the way America moves. He does. He changed the way America dresses. Everybody and their mother is dressing like the Kardashians. What does the Kardashians dress like? Kanye West. Yeah. So he creates stuff far outside of his range, far outside of music. But I believe, yeah. I really think so. I would put him, and I haven't changed this in so long, but my greatest rapper of all time, and he's a great rapper. He is. So you're saying now is the debate? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the debate is over now. Is Cole, Kendrick, and Drake?
As far as what?
Our best rapper, I guess, or greatest rapper right now.
Oh, right now.
I mean, I guess who else can you put in there?
I mean, I think those 3 should be on the top, like for our generation, like for that generation. I feel like out of those 3, I just feel like it's going to either be Drake or Kendrick now. There's going to be those diehard Cole fans, but to me, just the wave that this caught and just how crazy it is, I think people are going to either be like on Team Kendrick or Team Drake, and they're going to be like, those are 1 or 2. That's just how I feel.
Who's your favorite out of them 3?
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. Like,
I mean, Drake's my favorite out of those 3. Yeah, but then I'm like, yo, can I really say that Drake is my favorite rapper and put the rapper label on it? I don't know if I can.
He's absolutely a rapper, though. You can see, people disrespect Drake. Like, I get it. Cool. He has ghostwriters for certain things. Do I think ghostwriters write everything he puts out? But I think he puts out so much music for like just the little quick bops that aren't really conscious. yeah, he's probably having ghostwriters just write witty trap songs and stuff like that. I can see that. But I think for his like deep stuff that is personal to him, he's writing that stuff. So I don't think ghostwriters are writing everything. So that's where it doesn't really bother me because I can kind of differentiate like, okay, this is just a club record where lyrics don't really matter. It's just a bop versus, okay, this is like a lyrical record on his album. I expect him to write something like that. And I think he does. And then also like, even though rap is different from R&B, but if we're being real, all R&B artists use songwriters.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pop artists, everyone.
Music. So it's like we don't judge them for that. Now I get rap is different. People say, you know, your penmanship and all that, but still there's penmanship with R&B too. But either way, I feel like it doesn't bother me. And I feel like Drake does get a lot of disrespect. But I would say just based on the amount of music Drake puts out, I would probably put him number one. I feel like if Kendrick put out more music, he could probably but unfortunately he doesn't. And one thing that this beef showed me is he could put out more music. He just chooses not to because he's coming up with all this music on the fly. He could, and it's good music, it's creative. So it's not like it's whack, like dang, if Kendrick comes out with music too quick, it just doesn't hit the same. It's whack. That's not true, obviously, because he's able to do it. So he chooses not to. He chooses to take a break. So that's at his own expense. I can't put him number one just based off that. If he was more consistent, then maybe I could put him number one. But I do think Kendrick makes the best albums. I feel like Cole, before this whole beef thing, he was kind of making a claim with all the features he was doing and the music he was making. He was getting back to just bars because I feel like where I lost Cole, where Cole lost me, how about that? Where Cole lost me was he was trying to do what Kendrick does.
Yeah, I don't listen to J. Cole. Yeah, I love him. I don't listen to him.
When he came out with Friday Night Lights, there wasn't really cool. Friday Night Lights, you can call it a concept with the warm up and all that. It wasn't really concept. He just has bars on beats. And then Sideline Story, the same thing. He just has a compilation of songs that he's snapping on. Then he gets to Born Sinner and he's trying to do a concept album. And then he tried to keep doing that. That's Kendrick's thing. You're not going to do his own game. Kendrick with his concept albums is next level. So I feel like that's where Cole lost me is he started trying to do stuff that wasn't his strength. Now I feel like he's getting back to bars, but now this beef thing is taking off and I think it's leaving him behind. So I think ultimately I would have to put Drake 1 and then probably Kendrick 2 and Cole 3. That's how I'm rated.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on what your combination of what makes the best rapper is. Like for me, it's lyrics, it's what's the melody, and not everything obviously has to be on the radio. But can you put this on the radio? Like I would compare Kendrick to Nas, for example. You know, Nas his albums were masterpieces to me as well. And Nas talked a lot about, the African liberation and the cops and Giuliani, the governor of New York, and how the police system was messed up and the crack and when the crack was introduced to Black communities. So he does it too, but I feel like Nas always did it in a way of, well, I'm gonna make this a bop. I'm gonna make this something you can sing along to. Nas rap from the perspective of a gun and a fly on the wall. You know what I mean? So, and Kendrick's doing those kind of things. And I would put, if I have to say, I would put Kendrick number one as lyrical.
Okay.
Then J. Cole, then Drake after him. But overall, when I do my combination, it's Drake number one, and then Kendrick, and then J. Cole.
But so like with the Nas comparison, how would you stack Nas versus Jay-Z?
That is such a terrible question to ask. Oh God, I don't know. That's really hard. It's really hard because like Jay-Z, for example, was kind of like Drake in some aspects because I feel like Jay-Z took a lot of so AZ is a lesser known rapper. AZ did Sugar Hill. He did a lot of other great things. And if you listen to AZ, it's like, and AZ, did a lot more before Jay-Z did. And because I'm an AZ fan too, it's hard for me to give Jay-Z all the credit. How would I stack Jay-Z and Nas? I think I have a different. If you would have asked me this when I was in 2003, it was after the Blueprint 2 is when I really stopped messing with Jay-Z as much. But before that, nobody could ever touch Jay-Z because I feel like Jay-Z did have more of the stuff that you can play in the club, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
And Nas was more of the, oh, we got to think about this and we got to, you know, I don't want to think about liberation while I'm in, you know what I mean? But now that I'm older and I've kind of seen, I don't like the business moves that Jay-Z's made. I don't really like, you know, just some character things. I see some other things. So I don't mess with Jay-Z at all anymore. And I feel like he became very commercialized. So I would put Nas, I guess. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I can't make a decision.
Yeah. That's the same like difficulty people have, you know, when they're Kendrick and Drake fans, or even when you throw J. Cole in there. It's kind of hard for me. It's hard for me to pick because I like them for different reasons, just like I like Nas for certain reasons that I like Jay-Z. And some people may like Eminem for different reasons that they like Jay-Z or Nas. And maybe Eminem is a little more eclectic and out there, but he has a cult fan base, kind of like Kendrick does. So I feel like, you know, you can kind of compare that a little bit.
For sure, for sure. Look, we actually naturally went into rap beef history and comparisons because that was one of our points.
Yeah.
But specifically around diss tracks, like I think one of, at least in my lifetime, the most famous one was the Jay-Z and Nas beef. I know Lil Wayne, like a lot of people, like there was always beef there, and then also recently with what were they saying that that Drake messed with his girl or something while he was in jail?
Yeah, that was back in the day, yeah.
Yeah. And then Wayne has like a video saying like it probably happened, but I just don't remember. You know what I mean? So I don't know what Wayne's like perspective on and like where's Wayne in this conversation? You know what I mean? Like where's Wayne in the
greatest? Always been like a peacemaker. Like I feel like Wayne's not gonna, like if it comes down to it, he's gonna obviously stand up for Drake. Like that's his guy. But I feel like he doesn't really get messy like that. Like Wayne's always been above that kind of stuff to me.
True. And I know like we're here in the South, so I've always, when I moved down here, like, you know, I'm coming down here with Jay-Z's the best rapper. I listen to blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what are you, girl, get out of here. This is Lil Wayne country. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember on the Carter, Lil Wayne had a song called, I think it was like Miss My Dogs or something. But Juvenile and I think it was BG, they were beefing with Baby and like Birdman. So they kind of like dipped off on Cash Money. But even Wayne was being the bigger person. He's like 18 at the time. And he's making a song about how he misses them. Like, hey, like, you know, I miss the times that we was running together. Wayne's always been like that. Like I feel like he don't really get messy. Like Wayne's just like a really good dude. Like, you know, he's a good person. So he don't really like engage in all that.
That's true. I can't think of like beef, like Lil Wayne beef. I can't really think of anything like that. But Rick Ross is on his shit. Rick Ross is like, where is he? Is he gonna come out with a diss all as well? Like what? Where did that whole thing come from?
I feel like everybody should stand back because, you know, it's like nuclear right now. So it's like if you wanna come out, but it's at your own risk. Because to me, none of them could compete with Drake or Kendrick. Like what they're on right now, they could only really compete with each other. Maybe Cole, if he had it in him to compete, he could. But
like what is Rick Ross gonna diss? Like
like come on,
what is Rick Ross gonna diss people about? Like I can't even. But
it's not even what is he gonna diss him about. It's like, what is the actual song gonna like? What is his bars gonna be like? What's the song gonna sound like? It's not gonna be on the same level. Like he'd be playing himself.
Right. But I want to talk about Metro Boomin's diss beat. I have never in the life of me ever seen someone come out with a beat to like, oh, here's a diss beat. And it is so catchy. It is so like, I can't get it out.
I don't think I heard it. Let me hear it.
You didn't hear it? Oh my God. I think this was Metro summoned all the SoundCloud rappers because if you don't know, so Metro was like, here's the beat, open source, everybody can get on the track, and then and whoever has like the best one, I'm gonna give you a free beat. Like that's crazy. That's marketing. That is like insane. So let me find it real quick. Dot broke down the economic history boom of Atlanta and how it became a black mecca, then proceeded to show how it's being colonized by a Canadian actor. Is this real life? Oh, look, this was the club in New York, I think.
I saw that.
Like, what kind of craziness is this? All right, I think this is it. Oh, goodness. It's a beat drop. It's so good. Then there's like a ton of people on here like everybody's on TikTok is remixing it. This is actually fantastic.
That's hilarious.
Fantastic. Love it.
I want to watch my
Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for joining the podcast. Hopefully they won't. Well, I wonder what are they? Do they like honestly, like what do the kids listen to? What do they bop to? My nephews when they were really young, they were Drake. Drake is what they grew up on.
They don't listen to any of that. Nope. Yeah, they have no idea what's going on.
We actually had people in the comments. I didn't see it.
What are you saying?
Hang on, let me.
Hi.
Hi. So Michael Anderson says the original Metro song sample. Oh, right. So it is a sample, but I don't understand though. So I listened to it on Spotify because the whole thing is on there, and it's like an older guy on there, and I don't know like. Did the song say BBL Drizzy? Like, what did the original song say? Because I think I listened to the original song, and oh wait, he has that here. Let's see, if I could click on it. But I thought I listened to the original song, and it says BBL Drizzy, but maybe it's like maybe it's saying something else on the other side. All right, let's see. So DF Jones, what's up, David? Drake's last song was horrible. Using someone getting molested in a diss is wrong. I agree with that. He misquoted Kendrick several times about what he said on his last album. It's obvious he or his writers didn't listen to the album. And number two, no one should have to use someone getting molested against them. That was disgusting. That's where he completely lost me. I can agree with that.
I feel that, but I feel like it's at the point right now where like the gloves are off. Like anything is on the table. So it's like maybe last week if Drake would have did that, then I would be like, yo, that's crazy. But what else? Somebody's telling me that. So think about it from Drake's perspective. Somebody's telling me I should die. I should be dead.
Bringing up the kids.
Somebody's telling me that I'm a pedophile, right? And think like let's really zoom out a little bit, right? So like me as a parent, I have two boys, 3 and 5. So like before they I don't want them to get exposed to anything like on their own. I want to talk to them about something first. So whether that's sex, like pornography, whatever it is, right? I want to have that conversation with them where they hear it from me first, right? So let's think about it from Drake's perspective. So he has a son, Adonis. So he's literally going to have a sit down conversation with his son about all these songs that Kendrick's made, because I'm sure he doesn't want his son to go hear him for himself first. So now you're telling me I should die. You're telling me I'm a pedophile. You're dragging my
Those are
name.
serious accusations. Very serious. Very serious.
And then I'm literally gonna have to like explain this to my son one day, if not now, right? So to me, the gloves are off. Like anything's on the table. So that's where I would disagree. Where it is effed up. Like it is low. Like it's not respectable. But what Kendrick's doing is not respectable either. So it's like, to me, they're both. If you're gonna lose Drake, then lose Kendrick too.
Yeah, I hear you. The whole thing kind of lost me with Kendrick when he started bringing up the kids, and the one, I don't know exactly which track it was, but where he's like talking to Drake's kid, that is freaking disrespectful, yo. Like that is disrespectful.
Yeah.
So like there's like, don't bring the kids into it. Don't bring the kids into it.
Once Meet the Grams drop, to me, anything's on the table. I'm not gonna blame anybody for anything, even if Drake pulls up on Kendrick, whatever. Like nothing is unexpected to me. Like once you do that, like
and then I don't know if you saw, but people started speculating about who the daughter is. And now this little girl's profile is blowing up. They're talking shit about her. They're doing, and like this is a child. This is an 11-year-old child.
Yeah.
They should not be in this. Like politics, entertainment, I feel like kids are off limits. I don't care if I disagree with you in politics, if I disagree with you in moral, don't talk about the kids. That's insane. And Kendrick was the first one to bring that up.
In his hands. That's on his hands. So it's, to me, it goes both ways.
Definitely. So yeah, I'm gonna probably take a look more into that BBL Drizzy, into the BBL Drizzy.
I'm looking at it now because there's this website called Who Sampled.
Oh yeah.
If you ever hear a song that's sampled, go here and it'll tell you where it came from. So it says the same person that they said. It said somebody named King Willanius.
What are the lyrics? Like, can we look up what the actual lyrics are? Because it can't be BBL Drizzy.
It's literally named BBL Drizzy, but it dropped in 2024. So I think somebody made it.
Oh, okay. And then he sampled it. Gotcha. Yeah.
Somebody probably made it as a joke, but I can.
Got you.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a person who I have 2 playlists with sample songs and then like the song that like was sampled. I love it. But yeah, and someone also said Kendrick's wife is actually on his last album. I don't know what that means, like Kendrick's album or whatnot. But then
she's on the cover.
That whole discourse too, with like, and as being like where they were talking about Kendrick's wife now. Kendrick's wife is all in there, and they're high school sweethearts, and they're talking about, well, Kendrick, how you dissing this biracial when your wife is racially ambiguous.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
that's why I didn't take it personal, because I don't think he's coming for all biracial people. I think he's just coming for Drake being corny. But I think he's trying to play to Drake's insecurities. Like Drake, think about it. Drake is a 37-year-old man. I don't know his life. I don't really even be following niggas like that. But I just know he's 37. Like Kendrick's clowning him for, going to Turks and Caicos. Like he's living a 21-year-old lifestyle at 37. You know what I'm saying? So
it's kind of weird.
Like when we really, like, I don't know what people want and what people desire. I just know me. If I'm 37 years old, I'd want to be married with a family. That's just me. I have no desire to be single again. But like, so he's probably playing into that, like, yo, you're messing with these young girls, like you're a pedophile, whatever. Drake feels some type of way about that he doesn't have like somebody that can hold him down or whatever. So that's one. Then Drake might feel some type of way. I know I can speak to it being mixed. When I was growing up, I really didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, because like if I'm with my mom's side of my family, I'm the outcast. If I'm with my dad's side of the family, I'm the outcast. So where do I fit in? Like me, I was able to like that. I never really grew up with a complex, whatever, but I did feel that though. So I could see how somebody like Drake has a complex, and he may have carried that with him as an adult. And Drake's playing into that, talking about you can't say nigga. He's just trying to get under his skin and trying to play to anything that can be an insecurity for Drake. I think he's trying to like literally like get to him on that level, and embarrass him and just make him feel some type of way, like make him feel like when he goes to sleep he's thinking about it. Like I think that's what Kendrick's trying to do.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like
Yes.
that's why I feel like Drake is paying him back with the molestation thing. It's like, is that cool to bring up? No, it's not. But he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to, you know, like be foul in a different way. And he only probably has so much dirt or things he can say about Kendrick. And if he probably is misinterpreting the lyrics and misrepresenting it, but he's trying to make anything shake that he can. You know?
Rap beef, like it's rap beef. Like
it's a lie, but it don't matter. It's about the narrative. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. You're creating your own story at the end of the day against the other person. It's rap beef. It's entertainment. Like, and I know some, like, I don't know, maybe now, you know, having bonus kids and being married now and all that, I do see it a little bit different. So I feel for it. I feel for like, yo, don't bring up the kids. But like you said, now once that's done, no holds barred at this point. You know what I mean? And he's bringing up, and Drake is kind of touching on stuff that Kendrick's already mentioned, like this is public or whatever, you know. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but like, oh my God, sorry, it was super ugly. Just came into my head where he was, where Jay-Z was like, skeeted on your seats, left condoms on your baby seat. Like it was bad. It was also bad, but it was kind of like
for it though. Like he said, his mom made him apologize.
He did. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I don't know. So what do you think is gonna, like, down the line? Do you think they'll ever be able to reconcile? Like Jay-Z and Nas?
Maybe, I think, but that would take a long time. I think what's gonna happen, and this may be a good point to like start wrapping up. But I think, in my personal opinion, what's gonna happen? Drake is gonna drop an album for the summer or the fall, and everyone is going to go back to scheduled business. And Kendrick is going to continue doing what Kendrick is doing, which is not putting stuff out. Like, you know what I mean? Look at what we have a comment from Mike who said, if it's a lie, then stand on that lie. Then we stand on that lie, you know? But that's kind of like, you know what I mean? That's what you're doing at the end of the day. But like I said, I think what's going to happen is that he's going to come out with something. Drake's going to come out. He's going to be back rapper of the summer, and then Kendrick is gonna just lay dormant. I feel like he's been laying dormant, and I feel like you said, Kendrick has the capacity. He has the capacity to drop a bop album with the lyrics to back it up. Why isn't he doing it? To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City are masterpieces. What happened to that Kendrick? Where is he? It's kind of like Frank Ocean. Like, I don't know, honestly, I'm gonna go out a rant with it, but I don't know if you know the history of what happened with Frank Ocean and his label. But Frank Ocean, so he put, you know, he basically tanked them. He finessed them, and he put out like a shitty album it wasn't shitty to me, but it was a album that wasn't whole, for lack of better words. And then he went and dropped his album on his, you know, platform. So is that what Kendrick is doing? Is he not wanting to do this because he's on TDE, or he has to get, you know, he's giving all this money away? Like,
I don't think that. I think Kendrick views these albums as masterpieces, but so I don't think he's like trying to finesse or anything like that. I just think he's doing what he wants to do. And I think he's kind of playing that angle in this beef too, whereas he's saying Drake's a deadbeat, where it's like Kendrick is like, I'm doing what I want to do. When I want to drop an album, I'm gonna drop it. The other times, I'm being a dad, I'm being a husband. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually raising my kids. Like that's what he's standing on. And I feel like he's just doing what he wants to do. He's living life how he wants to live. When he's ready to drop something, he'll drop something. If he wants to jump on a feature, he'll jump on a feature. But he's literally just doing whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. And I think it just comes down to that.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to be the best rapper alive right now, you know? Maybe he doesn't, because I feel like if he did, then he'd be dropping more consistently, or not even more consistently, but, you know,
things that he thinks he's the best, but I think he just may not think that you need quantity. I think he's more quality. Like he's like, yo, if the quality's there, it speaks for itself. I don't need to drop all the time. They know what it is. I think that's his stance, but he might be mistaken. Like it's not helping his case. Because like you said, if he goes another 4 or 5 years without dropping like an album, that doesn't help him. So
how can you put him in the running for any greatest rapper or top three right now if he doesn't have the content to back it up? Because if you're looking at, if you're looking at Drake's catalog as a whole, he has more content than Kendrick. Like that's where you like, you bring in some underground rappers like Currency, for example,
Yeah.
and it could also be rapper style. Like Currency drops all the time, Drake drops all the time, Currency drops every month, and I think almost all of his stuff is quality. But but how can we even put Kendrick in these things if he doesn't have the catalog to back it up, like everyone else? So it's just
the way I look at it is, and I don't know who would agree with this, but it's just how I feel. But like Kanye, right? He, like anything he comes out with going forward, I probably won't like. That's just the bottom line. Yeah.
Did you listen to Vultures? You didn't like Vultures?
So this is my thing. Me, like college dropout, late registration, graduation, 808s and heartbreak. Like that. Like, yeah, like
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, that album was fire too. So like that's like literally timeless. Like I go back, if I'm driving to Florida and I gotta drive 8 hours from Atlanta to Florida, there's times where I've literally driven down to Florida to literally just listen to Kanye all the way down. You can play his albums from front to back, like they're literal masterpieces. Whose albums can you do that? Where I can play it from track 1 to track 20.
Not many.
Vibe with the whole thing. Not many.
Drake. I can do it with Drake.
I don't know. There's a few Drake I can though. I'm not gonna.
I could do it with Drake. Every album he has, pretty much, I can listen from top.
I can't do it with every album that Drake has, but I can do it with some of them. I'm not gonna lie. But I like Drake though. But with Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City, that's a movie to me. I'm literally watching a movie while I'm listening to it. I can listen to that all the way down. Same thing with To Pimp a Butterfly. I can listen to that all the way down. So it's like that's where I think that puts him up there because his albums like are that prolific where he stands on that and that holds him up versus like a Cole or a Drake. To me, their albums aren't on that level.
No, yeah.
But, Drake just has so many hits that to me, people can easily make a case for him number one.
Wait a second. Your cousin said something.
Who's that?
He said Lil Wayne. He said Wayne. That was, I guess, listen from top to bottom.
For what, Drake?
No, he said Wayne for people.
Wayne. Oh yeah, Wayne.
Yeah, I can say that.
I can listen
to Carter.
Carter, the first one, I can listen to that top to bottom. I can listen to definitely the Carter 3, and then obviously Wayne has mixtapes. So Wayne is goated to me. Like it's kind of like when we talk about basketball. Like we can talk about Bron, we can talk about whoever's playing right now, but MJ's already like up there. Kareem's already up there.
Yeah.
Kobe's already up there. Like, that's Wayne. Like Wayne, it don't matter what he do. He's good. Like you can't disrespect Wayne.
But you see now, look, like that's why I cannot wholeheartedly say like, oh, one of these 3 guys are the best rappers, because when you have people like Wayne and Nas and Jay-Z, and you have those, you grew up with people like that, like where no contest. You're
talking about all time though. You're talking about the greatest all time?
No, I think I'm talking about their eras. Wayne in the 2010s, and even prior to that, and then Jay-Z, Nas in the 90s to early 2000s. It was no contest.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a huge contest right now. It's like a contest, but it's like we stack them up against each other.
So I wouldn't say that because like with Wayne, right? I felt like it became no contest. What made it no contest was no ceilings in the Carter 3. That made it no contest. But there was a point in time, I remember, because I used to come down to Florida every summer. So one summer I came down and I was a huge T.I. fan. And he had like, urban music. Like he was on top of the game. To me, his early albums to me was better than like the Carter 2. Like, those T.I. albums were better than that to me. That's my opinion. So I was like, oh, T.I. is like the best rapper, whatever. Then Wayne came out with he went on his little mixtape run and then dropped 3. And to me, that's where the whole thing changed and Wayne was undisputed. But there was like throughout that time, I feel like it was a debate for a little while. Like people would say,
I didn't like Lil Wayne at all until the car because I was just an ignorant up norther.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
until I heard the Carter 3 and like the mixtape run that he did before that, that's where I was like, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah.
No, he's actually a lyrical, he's an artist, and he's making bops so that you can bop in the club in your car. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I can't be like, oh, Kendrick is this great thing, because there's Wayne, there's Nas. They make things that you can listen to and enjoy, but it's lyrical and it's talking about liberation and it's talking about history. Like, that's why it's hard for me to be like, okay, Kendrick, like I get angry listening to Kendrick. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. Like, I don't want to. Like, but I think in this beef, Kendrick is overall just, he is hitting the punches hard for sure.
This suits Kendrick though, like because it's playing because you know he doesn't really care about making pops and stuff like that. So he needs to come in with the creativity, with the game plan, playing chess. You know what I mean? With bars and stuff like that, and he's so creative. So I feel like it plays into his hand. But that's why I didn't really know what to expect from Kendrick from like a quantity standpoint. I didn't know how many songs he was gonna drop. I didn't know if he would drop like one, because he took a couple weeks to drop, I think, Euphoria. But I didn't know if he was gonna drop one and then 2 weeks for another and then a month for another. I didn't know because he doesn't drop that frequent, so I didn't know how that was gonna go. And then but I feel like he's held his own on the quantity part, and then Drake's held his own on the like, to me, Drake, you could easily make a case that Drake's winning to me.
Yeah, I think after this conversation with you and I do view it a little bit differently. I started this conversation saying like, oh, we're too old for this. Yeah. But really, after talking through it a little, I think it's a good beef. I think they're having a good beef. I think they're having a good back and forth. We're entertained. We're talking about it. It has all the characteristics of a beef in the 90s, except the only difference was it was the radio we was listening to for people's opinions and whatever else. Hot 97 and from where I was, Hot 97, 105.1. But I think it's a pretty good rap beef. I think it is. It's hidden below the belt as a rap beef should. But I think my opinions changed a little on it.
So we'll see what happens from here. We'll see if Kendrick responds or whatever. But yeah, I feel like
that would be our outgoing comment. That's what he just sent.
That's what. We'll see what happens from here. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed the conversation. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I enjoyed the comments and everything like that too.
Yes, thank you so much for being on. I didn't realize that you were also a hip hop head. I didn't know this until that. It's crazy.
I'm a hip hop head. I'm an R&B head. I'm an everything head.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I have just really quickly. I like the Chris Brown and Quavo beef better. Damon made me listen to the Chris Brown thing, and it was freaking good. An R&B person, a singing ass person. It was good. It was good. I don't listen to Migos, Quavo. I never did. It was good.
Yeah, I feel like he got him on that.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, peace out. Thanks to everyone that had comments, that engaged and joined and shared. And I see a bunch of shares actually. So I'm going to chop this up a little later and make it into smaller digestible videos. Thank you again. Thanks. And thanks to the little one for joining the podcast.
All right, bye, everybody.
Good night.